Hello, Hugo, Ellie, and Ollie. It's Mama here. I'm still at Waskasoo. We're staying at Baker's Cabins. It's July 2020, and COVID is still on, and so everybody is still isolating from other people because nobody wants to get sick. So it's very easy to isolate at Waskasoo because we have our own cabin and we can just kind of be by ourselves, it's kind of nice, and we love being here. We love the big trees. Those are called big jack pines. And yesterday we saw an elk walk right by us, and there's squirrels everywhere. So some year you guys are going to come and spend the summer with us out here, I hope. Okay, I'm going to read to you. The Berenstain bears don't pollute anymore. When bear country's cubs learn pollution's a fact, they help grown-ups learn to clean up their act. Yes, it's very important to recycle and reuse. Reuse is even becoming more important, isn't it? Well, looky here, said Papa Bear as he opened the evening news. Your friend, Professor Actual Factual, got his picture in the paper. Oh, said brother and sister coming to see. There's a big story too, said Papa, and a headline. My goodness, said Mama Bear, what's it about? Leading scientist claims bear country is in serious trouble, he said, reading the headline. What sort of trouble? Asked sister. Papa, who was reading the story to himself, didn't answer. What sort of trouble? Asked Mama, repeating sister's question. Oh, you know how professors are, he said. Actual Factual's making a big fuss about pollution. Well, I know how Professor Actual Factual is, said Mama, and I think he's quite sensible. So do I, said sister. Me too, said brother. Oh, he's a great guy, all right, said Papa. He's dug up some terrific dinosaur bones and he runs a great museum. But I happen to think he's gone a little overboard on this pollution thing. I'm as much against pollution as the next fellow, said Papa. I just don't think a couple of candy wrappers and drinking cups along the side of the road is the end of the world. Well, maybe if there's only a couple, but if everybody did that, it would be a pretty big mess. Besides, bear country is in great shape. Come on, I'll show you. He opened the door and led the family out onto the front stoop. You see, bear country is not only in good shape, it's downright beautiful. The rolling hills, the forests, the lakes and streams. Just look at that sunset. It's beautiful, all right, agreed brother, but our science book says that some of those colors are caused by chemicals in the air that shouldn't be there. Piffle, said Papa. Say, aren't you two supposed to be doing your homework? Sister, who had just about completed her homework, finished quickly, but Brother Bear was stuck. Teacher Bob had asked him to do a report on endangered species. The books he had taken out of the school library weren't very helpful. Of course, the kind of shape bear country was in wasn't as simple as Papa made it seem. How bear country looked depended on your point of view. It looked fine from the bear family's front stoop. It looked even better if you had a bird's eye view while flying high above the earth. It does look beautiful, doesn't it? But if you had a squirrel's eye view and were finding fewer and fewer acorns because too many trees were being cut down, bear country didn't look so fine. If you had a duck's eye view, you might think the professor was right about pollution. And if you had a fish's eye view, you might think that things were downright awful. Because look at all the junk and garbage that has gone into the stream and into our oceans because we don't recycle and reuse very well. The next day, Brother decided to visit the museum to ask Professor Actual Factual for help with his endangered species report. Sister Bear went with him. Professor Actual Factual was usually cheerful and friendly and bubbling over with ideas and projects when the cubs visited, but this time he looked worried and glum. He cheered up a bit when he saw them, but when Brother told him the purpose of the visit, to get help on a report about endangered species, he said something very surprising. I'll tell you the endangered species to do your report on. Us. Oh, that sounds serious. We don't understand, the cub said. Well, it's very simple, explained the professor. We bears and all other creatures need certain things to survive. Clean air to breathe, pure water to drink, and good soil to grow food in. If we don't do something about pollution, we're all going to become endangered species. Come, he said. You'll understand soon enough. He led them out to where the actual factual mobile was parked. It was a special van with all kinds of scientific gear in it. So there's where all his tools are for when he goes out in the field. Then the professor took brother and sister on a bear country tour that they wouldn't soon forget. They went past Grizzly Gus's garage where they saw oil leaking into a stream, getting on a duck and killing some fish. They went past the old box factory where they saw ugly black smoke pouring into the air. They scuba dived into Great Bear Lake where they saw everything from soda cans to rusty old bed springs. And worse, they saw a fish tangled in a plastic soda can holder. They cut it loose, but they can't rescue all fish from all the plastic holders carelessly thrown away. That's one thing, we always cut those whenever we get those at our house. We cut each of the holes so that wherever that ends up, it won't hurt anybody. They talk about that catching birds too. They drove through the forest and saw that a great many trees had been cut down and that not many new trees had been planted to replace them. That's one of the things that Grandpa and Mama are going to do in our pasture. We're going to plant a whole bunch of new trees to help the environment. You might speak to your dad about that, said the professor. He and his fellow woods bears could help with that problem. I think I see what you mean about becoming an endangered species, said brother when they got back to the museum. Yes, agreed sister, but what are we going to do about it? Did that evening news story do much good? Asked brother. Not much, said the professor. The idea that bear country is in serious trouble because of pollution seems to be hard to get across. Well, to grown-ups maybe, said sister, but we understand, and all our cub friends will too, because we're the ones who'll have to live in this messed up, polluted earth when we grow up. That's good. They're going to make a change and take some action. Professor, said brother, how does this sound? You come to our school and explain all about pollution to the cubs of bear country. Maybe we can do something about it. Actual Factual was impressed. I'll give Teacher Bob a call right away and arrange it, he said. And that's what happened. The cubs were all eyes and ears as Actual Factual told them about the trouble bear country was getting into. First, he taught them 3 important new words: ecology, conservation, and recycle. The way the professor explained it, ecology means how all the creatures, the plants, and the earth itself work together. Conservation means not wasting the valuable things of the earth like water, oil, wood, and metal. And recycle means finding ways to use some of those valuable things over and over again. So there's Teacher Bob, and there's Professor Actual Factual explaining all of this to the cubs at their school. The cubs learned quite a lot from Actual Factual, and they had some ideas of their own too. How about a recycling program, asked one cub. Maybe for newspapers to start, added another. Then if it works for cans and bottles too. Tim Honeypot said he'd talk to his dad, Mayor Honeypot, about it. Brother Bear remembered Grizzly Gus's garage. You shouldn't be allowed to spill oil into streams and kill fish, he said. Babs Bruno, whose dad was the chief of police, said, I'll talk to my dad. If there isn't a law against it, there ought to be. Even Too Tall helped with an idea. My uncle owns a super-duper market. He could put in a bag return plan for reusing bags. Excellent suggestion, said the professor. And if some folks don't want to cooperate, added Too Tall, me and the gang can lean on them a little. The bag return is fine, Too Tall, said Teacher Bob. but no leaning. Yeah, he looks like he could be possibly a bit of a bully. Cousin Fred had the best idea of all. Let's start a club to stop pollution and call it the Earth Savers Club. We'll make posters and bumper stickers and have cleanups and marches and parades. But there was still the problem of Papa and his fellow woods bears, who liked to cut down the trees. That evening, brother and sister told Mama and Papa about the Earth Savers Club and all the plans for stopping pollution. Mama was very impressed. Papa was too. As I said before, I'm just as much against pollution as the next fellow. But when the cubs asked him to be sure that he and his fellow woods bears plant a new tree for everyone that they cut down, he got a little grumpy. He grumped. It's hard enough to cut trees down without having to plant them as well. Besides, what's all the fuss about? They're just trees. My dear, said Mama, the cubs are right. The forest is a living thing and deserves respect. Papa was about to say piffle, but thought better of it. Trees are very important because guess what? Trees and plants bring us lots of oxygen on the earth. And that's what we breathe. The problem of conserving the forest must have been on Papa's mind because that night he had a dream. In the dream, he was walking toward the forest to cut wood. When the trees began to sway and wave their branches, then the branches turned into reaching, grasping arms. Then the trees climbed out of the earth and on their roots and started chasing him. Yeah, they're saying, change your ways, Papa Bear. Help, cried terrified Papa in his sleep. The trees, they're after me. And he woke up in a cold sweat. Having a nightmare, asked Mama. It must have been something I ate, said Papa. Or something you heard, perhaps, said Mama, about trees. Piffle, he said, and he turned over to try to go back to sleep. But it wasn't going to be easy. The cubs didn't expect to solve all of Bear Country's pollution problems, but the Earth Savers Club made a very good start. The mayor declared a special holiday called Earth Savers Day, and the cubs had a big parade. Brother and Sister Bear marched at the head with Professor Actual Factual. And look they made signs that encouraged everybody to not litter and to recycle and to look after our forests. There were many grown-ups in the parade too, including Papa Bear, who carried a sign that did not say piffle. It said, a good woods bear plants a tree for every single one he cuts. No ifs, ands, no maybes, or buts. So that's our job, is to look after the earth and to recycle and reuse and reduce and take care of our environment. I love you guys. I miss you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.